Right now we're going to talk all about T2S, European harmonization, so some of the topics, T2S, CSD regulation, are we in fact ready? And in order to tell us if we are in fact ready are these guys. Charles is with us, he's the Head of Client Development and member of the Executive Committee for BNP Paribas. Alessandro De Micheli is a General Manager at Monte Titoli. Adolfo Garcia is the Head of Securities Forums at Banco Santander, and Frederick is the Executive Director of Euroclear. Guys, thanks very much for chatting with us and coming in and giving us your time. So, T2S 2015, I had some of the guys from the ECB yesterday and they say, yep, we're ready to go. Do you think they're ready?
I think they are ready. They've been ready for quite a while, I think, in terms of fully defining what the ambition was for T2S. There have been some arguments about the timing and the different steps, because it will eventually happen in different waves. There have been arguments about the real cost synergies the market may get from that initiative, short term. But I think, yes, they are definitely ready, and so are we.
Yes, and from my perspective, Italy is going to join in wave one, so we can really touch and feel whether we're ready or not. And I think there's a component which is the ECB and the market infrastructure, like Monte Titoli as a CSD, we're obviously ready to engage in T2S. The next question now is how to get ready with our participants to the system and with our customers. And that's really the focus
now. How are you doing that?
The way we're doing it is, before, to prepare with them our own implementation and to share the functionalities and the way we go about the implementation. Now the next question is, once that is implemented, how we can actually make sure it works from day one. So it's not only about functionalities and technology, it's about market practices and how to bring all these customers together into market practices that are new and need to work.
Well, the ECB formally announced that they will be ready, so let's believe. I do believe them. There is a calendar. In the case of my main market, which is Spain, we, as opposed to Monte Titoli, we are joining in the last wave, which is in 2017 February. But to adapt to that wave, we are somehow in wave zero, because the Spanish market has to go through a tremendous overhaul and change of settlement and clearing and everything before. So we have to be ready by the end of 2014. So it's next year. So they better be ready, because we have to rush. And then our calendar is depending on their calendar. But they say they are ready, and I think they are. There are some things yet to change and to correct, but they will be done.
I would like to come back to what Alessandro said, and sure, the market infrastructures will be ready. They're doing all they have to do to be ready. Obviously, you only know at the day of the launch when someone is ready, but the signs are good. Now, on the market players themselves, as they are directly linked to an infrastructure in their country, they will do the necessary changes, and it should not be fundamentally different from changes that they do regularly. The big question is, will they already have done the changes to benefit from the cross-border European business? So a single settlement, how do they do their corporate action? And there it's not so sure that market players will be ready in time, but I don't think it's a big issue either, because what T2S does is provide optionality. So they don't need to change on day one, they can see how things move on and then gradually change in function of their business needs. Because in the end, they will want to benefit from T2S, not just from T2S, but because there's business needs behind that.
So we've got on this panel two bankers, Charles and Adolfo, and we've got two from, if you like, the settlement market infrastructure, that's Alessandro and Frederick. So tell me now, yesterday we had a few guests talking about the fact that with all of these changes, we're going to see on the one side consolidation, but on the other side, you probably will get a lot of new players in the industry, certainly a new breed of CSDs. What is your view on all of this?
Shall I start with that question? Indeed, we have different roles in this process, and as an agent bank, and I should add, as an agent bank, with capacity in most of the European markets, we did not wait for T2S to indeed support our clients with their cross-border trading. And hence, it is a material change in the marketplace for the ultimate users, not necessarily. So the ones who have to be ready are the ones who directly interrelate with the market infrastructures, that is the CSDs. Now, T2S in particular, I think, will have an impact on settlement flows, not on asset servicing. What's interesting is that it covers all asset classes, and I think intellectually, it's interesting to see that initiative came from the European Central Bank, did not limit its initiative to the sovereign bond market, but actually, as stated, covered all of the asset classes. What it will definitely do is streamline the settlement flow, so there is an embedded harmonization of that aspect of the business, and we are hopeful that this will be a first major step in Europe for further harmonization across other sectors.
You touched on a specific point, which is consolidation and the benefits of that consolidation. From my perspective, I think we're going to go through two phases, which is at the beginning of the implementation of T2S and also a few years after that. I think the focus will be very much on risk management and cost reduction. In terms of actually playing out the benefits of T2S, I think there will be two elements that are necessary. One is the emergence from a market infrastructure point of view of global players that can actually harmonize by practice and not by simply implementation.
Who will those be?
And I think, there are already obviously players, but there is space for further players to come up. Certainly, from my perspective, London Stock Exchange Group is willing to play that role. The other element, however, is that there is still some way to go in terms of regulation, and in particular there are two things: settlement cycle and settlement discipline. Until those are resolved and harmonized at European level, I don't think that consolidation and those benefits can be reaped.
Frederick, I want you to come back on some of the...
On the consolidation, I would want a crystal ball, because often we think there will be, then there's not, we think there won't be, there is. But when you look at our industry over the past 20, 30 years, it's been a story of consolidation. Now, in short-term periods, you might have some more players and then some less again, but overall, it's a story of consolidation. And we should not just look at T2S, because yes, once you think conceptually, there's a new system coming up that will drive consolidation, but there's a lot of other things happening in the market. There's the AIFMD, there's the CRD4, there's 50 other regulations which might have a different impact. So when you look globally, then the picture is out. But there again, I think the trend in the long term is consolidation, which doesn't mean that there cannot be new entrants, because they can become very, very big and consolidate too.
Adolfo?
Well, banks have been traditionally more in favor of T2S than market infrastructures. When T2S was announced back in 2006, it was to the dismay and disbelief of market infrastructures on the project. While banks, we were very much in favor of it. Yes, there will be consolidation, but consolidation has taken place, in the last 20 years. There were so many banks doing custody 20 years ago, and now there are fewer players. I agree with Charles in the sense that the settlement is going to be commoditized, but not the asset services. There will be room for big players and smaller players. And each of them will be doing it's part of the job.
I like to take a step backward, because somehow we naturally, because of what we do day after day, we kind of focused on T2S and the CSD regulation. What's actually happening for the last 3-4 years is that we see plenty of initiatives on the regulatory front coming from different regulatory bodies who are basically affecting all of the client segments. So it goes above and beyond the relationship between banks and brokers, vis-a-vis the infrastructures, the ambition of the infrastructures to outgrow the original mandate. If I'm just looking at the institutional market, asset managers, whom we serve as well, those guys are affected by AIFMD. They will have to apply for a European passport. They will have to comply with increased investor documentation. So the challenge for each of us in our respective roles might be common, but also will diverge very, very dramatically. What strikes me as well, and this last point I want to say, this no general blueprint. There's not one single blueprint tackling all of the issues in one go and addressing the requirements or the challenges of the different client segments. So we see those various initiatives which fill certain gaps, pursue different aims, and there is some overlap and there are some contradictions in those regulations we see.
Well, the consolidation will probably take more place within the custodian banks or global custodians or agent banks, rather than with the market infrastructures, where we are seeing is more and more infrastructures coming to the to the picture. There are more CSDs, so there is no consolidation of CSDs. In fact, there is still the de facto monopoly of CSDs in each of the domestic markets will continue to exist, even if there are interoperability and other arrangements, but there's still one market, one CSD, at least. Some of them, they already have three or four. But in the case of banks, yes, we'll have there will be the players who think that it will be meaningful for them and they have a clear business case.
But, on market infrastructure, I think it depends how you define consolidation. I think, yes, there could be new ones coming up, and there have been new ones coming up, etc. But in the end, I think the business will be more and more channeled through a limited number. So there might be more, but I think you will see a consolidation of the business flows.
From my point of view, I think that consolidation will happen by market infrastructure taking all this range of regulation that have different aims and actually putting it together in a framework that makes sense for customer. The actual consolidation will be customers seeing the benefits there and pushing us as market infrastructure to deliver those benefits and do for them that consolidation of all that regulation.
Okay, well great, we've got to leave it there. We could talk forever, couldn't we, on all of these issues. Thanks very much to all of you for joining us. Thanks for giving us your time on Sibos TV. Enjoy the rest of your time in Dubai.